And like literally like my heart like went up into like I was like like yeah, 'cause I was like so excited. I was
This
like
is the
jumping up and
moment.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like jumping up and down like a little kid, and I was just like, dude, like this is so sick. Like what the fuck?
That one's gonna cost you right there.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. This is another episode of the Scoped Exposure podcast. The riff side of me is very excited for this interview today. We got Cody, the riff master of DRAIN. Cody, you're back for round 2 of the Scoped Exposure podcast. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you for having me back. It's been a minute. It's been what, 2 years, I think.
Yeah, because when I'm reflecting on how this podcast has grown, obviously as you know the front runner of it, I think you were one of the, in my opinion, one of the first bigger guests that I was getting on the show, because that was right when the pandemic starting, and I had to kind of adjust to doing these interviews over Zoom here. And I genuinely reached out to you thinking that it would be like I don't want to really do any press as far as like, things with the world shutting down and all that, but you were about it and we had a really good chat. And I think I was like waiting for that right time to hit you up for a second interview. And with the new DRAIN record being recorded and starting to come down the pipe now, it just felt appropriate. So I'm really excited to have you back on the show.
Well, thanks, man. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So obviously, there's a lot to catch up on. I feel like DRAIN has been running on firing on all cylinders as far as this year alone has been concerned. But before we jump into it, we have to do a bev check before we get into the episode. So did we actually do a bev check when we did your first interview? I feel like that was before the era of the bev checks and scoped exposure.
I think that was before the era, yeah, because I didn't have anything on me as far as beverages, but I do have something. This is just like a little cold brew from my local coffee shop. It's called Calavera Coffee.
Cool.
And just want to do a little shout out to
show
them.
that sticker? It seems like some dude's getting zapped.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, because their whole like logo is like a skeleton, like a skull, and like they kind of just put on the body. But yeah, like just want to do a shout out to them because they allowed me to work for them during the pandemic, when shit was rough, and made a bunch of cool friends there. And yeah, and I love, that's my favorite coffee shop of all time. So
that's awesome.
Shouts out to them.
Yeah. I love the sticker showing like, when you drink this is how you feel. It's like, it's like those 5 Gum commercials, but it's just for cold brew and just feeling like you're just like an insane human.
Yeah.
Is cold brew your like go-to as far as coffee drinks go?
Oh, pretty much. Yeah. It's like, it's funny because I graduated from because it's funny. I started drinking coffee, I think like maybe in the past, like couple years or like few years or something. I remember like Sammy and Tim were like big coffee drinkers. I guess they still are, but it's like I was not, like I didn't drink coffee until they started like putting me on, and then I started off with like iced vanilla lattes and stuff, and then I finally graduated up to their level, which is just straight up just black coffee, cold brew. Now that's like all I drink. It's like
yeah. I think definitely as we're getting into like the summer months, it's like it's especially here in Canada, because I feel like we have to drink hot coffee out of survival, in the winter months for sure.
Right.
But as it's getting like hotter and hotter, it's like just I only want to drink cold brew, and I only want to drink like iced dirty chais or Americano. Yeah. I feel like an iced Americano is like a weaker version of a cold brew.
Oh, for sure. But I still do like the iced Americanos. I just like anything iced is just so good to me. I don't know what it is. I just love iced drinks.
I feel like my only, and this could just be myself, is that I drink an iced drink in like 30 seconds, while like a hot coffee would last me like 10 minutes, or something like that. It's just like I'm just having such a good time, and then it's over before it even starts. Yeah. So, Cody, as far as beverages for me, we have to ignore the time of the day. So, keep it judgment free. But I'm going to be drinking a New England Pale Ale from our beverage sponsor, New Level, that's their poster there. So that's a new thing as far as the show is concerned since you were on it. So that's the can here. So it's got like the whole brewery I think would be very up your alley. I'm not sure if you drink, but just like the whole like aesthetic of the marketing of like being super like 80s like hair metal and thrash, like just
Hell yeah.
super crazy stuff. So I'll send you a link to their website for you to check it out, and maybe the next time Drain's here in Calgary, the last time I think when Endgame was playing with Comeback Kid, I know all those guys are big beer dudes, and I just like brought a flat to the show, and they were just over the moon about it. So I feel like the next time I should do it is when Drain's next in town.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Well, as I carefully check this, cheers to you, my friend. Really excited to
Dude,
have
of
you
course,
back on
man.
the show.
Dude, thanks, man. Yeah, let's cheers up.
Cheers up. That's right.
Yes, sir.
So, Cody, like I said at the top of the episode, Drain has just been flying to the skies right now with doing a lot of touring, playing a lot of big festivals. I want to like, as far as like the one main first thing that I want to talk about in this episode is you guys announcing that this new record that you're working on is coming out through Epitaph. And when I saw that acquisition on their end, it was like super exciting because a lot of Epitaph bands for me first getting into like heavier music were definitely like super foundational, but Epitaph is not a record label that I think you think of and it's like, oh, I think of hardcore bands there. So to see you guys on that was like really exciting, but I'm curious if you could like just talk about the process of that and kind of what went into, like when, again, there might be things that you can't share, but as far as like, what you think that means for Drain, but also what you think that means for hardcore as a community as a whole.
Cool. Well, I can say it was funny because we got hit up by Epitaph. Oh wait, hold on, my bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah. My bad. Hold on. I'm like getting like a weird call right now. Okay. Yeah, no, sorry, my bad. Yeah, we got hit up by Epitaph like literally like 2 weeks after California Cursed came out. So that was like April 7th, I think that's when California Cursed dropped. But it's funny how that came about because I remember I was living in LA at the time and I was living in my homie's living room on a like a futon. And I woke up one morning like 9:30 to Sammy calling me, and Sammy at that time didn't really like call me early like that, so I was like, oh, it must be something important. So I wake up half asleep and I was like, oh, what's up, dude? He's like, yo, man, you want a espresso shot to the face or what? Like that. And I was like, yeah, sure. Hit me, And he was like, well, like Epitaph is interested in us. And I was like, oh shit. I like literally like sprung up and like just, that was the espresso shot to the face. And I was like, no fucking way. And I was like running around my, our house, and I was like banging on my roommate's doors. And I was like, dude, you never guessed. He's like, what's going on? What's going on? So yeah, that was a really exciting time. So that's how that came about. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, so as far as like the initial, like knocking on the Drain door, if you want to call it that, to the actual, like, let's post about it. That was like almost like 2 years as far as, I guess it was like a year and a half as far as, because you announced that in like the fall of last year.
Right. Yeah. So that, it was a pretty big gap, in between, announcing that. I mean, of course, we had to keep it a secret for quite a while, so that was pretty hard on our end, because we were just like, damn, we're so excited. And,
it's
but
kind
it
of
worked out,
Yeah. It's really like reminiscent of like, if you're on, this is like when I was like initially growing up, but like a family friend was on a some kind of reality contest kind of show, and at the end she ended up like winning. But like because this is all like when it's not like Netflix releasing an entire season. This is like week to week, so it's like multiple months. So it's like having to like keep a secret as a band off of something you're so excited about, and I'm sure you wanted to just tell all your friends. Like, is that more just like like you're contractually like you can't tell a soul about it until it's out?
It wasn't, I mean, kind of, I mean, it was obviously we told like our like close friends and stuff like that, you know,
Sure.
just people in our circle and stuff. But it's like, you know, it's kind of just had to wait until a certain point to do that. But, you know, like publicly, I guess, so.
Yeah. So, so yeah, that came out. So, obviously I feel like that is a really cool move from you guys versus like going to, again, a label that is, like Epitaph has like a ton of like heavy music artists or people in the alternative music space. But I was like, even just on the current artist list, I was like, there, aside from like maybe one or two bands, there's not like what I would consider like a hardcore band on there. So with you guys being on that, like, was the move in a sense like, oh, well, if we can get out there, maybe that opens the doors for other bands in the future. Kind of similar to how, like, I felt like that acquisition was very similar to like Turnstile playing all the late night shows that they are. Because again, it's opening the door. So I don't know if that was intentional or if you think differently on that when it comes to the impact. I'm just kind of curious where your thoughts go.
Yeah, can you explain like the last part of the question again? Like, my bad.
Yeah, you're all good. I guess I'm just curious on if you think that Epitaph taking interest in a current hardcore band means there's potential for other bands in the future, or for Epitaph to be more like aware of like the scene that is in its current day, and if there will be more moves from them as a label like that. Obviously, you don't work at Epitaph and you can't, you don't make those calls, but I'm just kind of curious
Right.
if you think that, because to me that would make sense, but I'm kind of curious on what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that'll definitely help with like kind of opening the gates of just, allowing other bands like us, whether it be a hardcore band or a metal band or a punk band, to kind of like, get the, eyes on them, I guess to say,
Mm-hmm.
and I also think that like, I think like all the different scenes and all the different genres right now, I just think like everything's like really popping right now, and I think that like, it's really crazy to see. And I think it's due to the pandemic, I feel like the pandemic is like a blessing and a curse, because I mean, obviously it sucked, but then it's like, I think that people got so bored. And then by the time like things started opening up, then it's like all these, like, you look at the metal scene, you look at the hardcore scene, you look at the punk scene, look at like the rap scene. It's like everything is just times 10 now. And I think it's great. And I think a lot of kids and a lot of people are really starting to see, especially with like Turnstile and stuff like that, how like rock music is like for sure, like guitar based music or whatever you want to call it, is like for sure making like a comeback now, like in a greater way.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminiscent of like just, like the 80s and 90s in a way, because it's just so like popular, and you can see the influence of rock based stuff in other genres, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I feel like and again, like I feel like we're prefacing all this talk with the obviously I feel like if we were given the option, pandemic or not, we would obviously choose not having a pandemic, because we only know whatever reality that we're in. But I do think that it was like a reset for a lot of things, and maybe as a music genre as a whole, but like even people in certain bands like starting side projects, and now that side project is actually like way better than their original band. Like I've seen that like more times than I can account when like watching different things from different band people. So yeah, like I do think that it is a really special time for heavy music as a whole, and for you guys to kind of be, probably I think within the top 10 bands of like people are watching, as far as like seeing you guys everywhere all over the world, but also like with this new record coming out, because I felt like California Cursed was such a turning point. And I think we talked about this on your first interview, was like DRAIN has been a band that's been around for a long time, and you guys have done a lot of stuff that before that arguably like didn't get anywhere near the attention that you guys are getting right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty wild to look back on that. I mean, it's just like, because again, I think I touched on this on the last, podcast that like, I feel like a lot of people thought that Drain just like kind of came out of nowhere, kind of like, like what's that whole like the industry plant kind of thing. We're just like, oh, it just got like whatever. But it's I mean, the band started in 2014. It's we've come a long way. We've just kind of built it from the ground up. As corny or cheesy as that sounds, but it's like it's the truth. We did our work, and the work still isn't done. You know what I mean? We're still grinding. We're still doing what we would have done years ago, and just playing, having a good time, and just So,
what do you think was maybe the biggest driving force for you going into that? Like, obviously, like when you get the fucking espresso shot punch in the face about Epitaph, that probably put a lot of wind in your sails. But like even before putting out California Cursed, and maybe things with the band were just kind of not happening at the level, and you're like, man, we've been going at it for a long time. Like what do you think has been the big driving force to keep you going? Like you individually, because I'm sure it's different for Sammy and Tim and all the other guys.
Right. Okay. Well, I would say for me individually, I've always had, like, since I was a little kid, at some point, I think it might've been like 8, 9, 10 years old, whatever. I had this dream of like, I want to be in a band, and I want to be a guitarist in a band, and, and I feel like, and once I joined Drain, I feel like I joined a band that I've always kind of wanted to be a part of, which is like a band that has like the chops of like a metal band, but has like the morals and the vibe of like a hardcore band, you know what I mean? So it's like, and that really did for me. So I was like, I just wanted to, keep on that lane and just pursue that, you know what I mean? And of course, just playing music is just fun in general. And it's just like, so even in times where it's like, no one knew who we were, and we were playing to 2 people, whatever, just like we still, had a great time, and we still, I mean, I guess that's all the motivation right there. It's just like, we just kept with it because we just loved it, and, and just kind of tried to make the dream happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. No matter what fell in our way,
Yeah. And I did a podcast just before jumping on with you, and, a similar thing that we discussed is that like, when you're doing your shit and you're staying in your lane, and you're not like focusing on like, the big things that you're hoping for, and you're just being a little bit more like focused on the creative and the craft, like if your shit is good, like people will come to you. And literally that's what happened. Like California Curse like was clearly in the top 5s, even 3s of a lot of people's like 2020s, and it was good enough that like Epitaph's like, yo, we have to secure this band before someone else does. And
Dude, well, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, very exciting, and
yes,
that was a full-on espresso shot to the foot face, so yeah, I'll never forget that when Sammy called me.
I'm just like there are few times you get like those kinds of phone calls, and it's like I'm sure like 20 years from now you'll remember exactly where you were sleeping on that futon getting that call. But
I was gonna say, I kind of like compare it to like the first time like I listened to like like when you're like a kid, you listen to like Slayer or something for the first time, and it's just like, whoa, like it's just like, because it's so like you never heard anything like that. It's so heavy. It kind of like makes you feel like, oh my god, like this is like I shouldn't be listening to this because it's so like extreme. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like and that feeling can't be duplicated because you've already been through that. So it's like, I don't know, I kind of contributed to that. It's like that's just like a once in a lifetime kind of feeling, like that call that Sammy gave me, compared to like hearing a certain band for the first time,
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. I love watching like celebrity interviews where it's like the call that they got, the role that they're most known for or whatever. I think the dude that plays Superman, he was on some late night show talking about like the call that he got the role. He didn't pick up the first time because he was playing World of Warcraft. So he was just like playing, and then he's like, oh, Zack Snyder's calling me. I should grab that. Oh, maybe not. And then he like called him back, and he's like, who knows if he would have been like, no, one more game. It could have gone to someone else. Totally. So
wow. Yeah. That's just those once in a lifetime things, man. It's like, Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what Drain has been up to. Obviously, like before the, we'll get to the recording in a bit here, but you guys did your first headlining tour with Pain of Truth,
Right.
and the
Ingrown.
Boise Boys and Ingrown. Which,
Right.
so talk to me a little bit about that. Like, did you guys like do the curation of that lineup like yourselves, or were there like other people that were kind of like suggesting that? Because I think that was just like such a powerhouse lineup that like when that poster came out. And I love that you guys did the little like Epitaph dude, the fucking like Pain of Truth dog, and the Ingrown like dude with the
like,
gun for eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me about like how that all came together.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, we for sure, like handpicked, Pain of Truth and Ingrown, because obviously all of us collectively in Drain are, huge fans of both the bands, Pain of Truth is fucking awesome. And Ingrown is as well, but yeah, no, it was great. I was glad we were able to do that. Because it's funny, because I feel like every tour I go on, I always say like, oh, like this is the best tour, like that, but I feel like this one for sure was like the best tour that I've ever been on, because we vibed with everyone. I mean, we usually vibe with everyone in general, but it's just like we just vibed really hard with Pain of Truth and with Ingrown. Of course, we've known Ingrown beforehand, because we played with them, years ago and stuff like that. But it's like just like the whole package was just really cool, and everyone was just broing out, having a good time, and it was great, man. I just like, yeah. And of course it was our first headliner, so that also added to it as well. We were just, geeked. So
yeah. When you guys were like prepping, what was like maybe the couple things that you guys wanted to do as far as like, okay, this is our first headlining thing, so we really wanted to make it feel like our own. Like, was there anything on like, presenting things on stage, or the set list as far as like, oh, should we pull some deep cuts? Should we just do the hits? Like, what went into the process of making that feel like, oh yeah, Drain owns the building for this last set?
Well, we definitely, we had this idea of, starting the set, with like the Jaws theme, and kind of diving into like a territory we never really dove into before, which is like, using like samples live and stuff like that. And so that, I think that kind of made it, well, it's our first headliner, so we should do it up. And I think that was really fitting. And I seemed like kids and just people in general really liked it. You know what I mean? It was like, it really added to the effect and just the suspense of the show. You know what I mean? It just like, it went off every night, just kids were like diving to the Jaws thing, you know what I mean? And stuff like it. It was like really cool. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's and then, yeah, just stuff like that, Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I think on our first episode, again, we recorded our interview like height of the pandemic. So like no shows were happening. And I think something that that we talked about a lot was how short your the set that I caught you guys of.
Oh yeah,
I think it was like 12 minutes, and we were talking about that, like, leave them wanting more. So like, was that same kind of, were you tempted to kind of have that same thing even though you're headlining, or you're like, no, we want to play for like a full 30 minutes or even 40 minutes? I don't even know if Drain has 40 minutes worth of music. I guess with the new record maybe, but yeah.
As far as when the new record comes out, I don't know how long our set will be at that point. But I mean, I obviously, like, I still like the idea of the kind of less is more thing. Obviously, like, our set isn't 12 minutes anymore. It's more like 17, 18, I would say,
Yeah, which is still short to a lot of bands.
That is true. That is true. And I guess like we still like that effect of just kind of like get up on the stage, get off, just hit them with the heat, But, at some point it's like, you just, when a band makes more music, it's like at some point you just have to have a longer set, and I mean, I think it just kind of comes with time. So it's like, but I don't know,
Yeah. I think over time it's like, okay, like I'm sure even a band like Knock Loose, who would play like 20 minutes, is like, okay, how do we craft a whole hour's worth of like all these bigger shows that we're doing? Cause like, for me as like someone who's getting a little bit older, it's like there are a few bands that I actually want to watch an hour's worth of music, but your band can get to that territory where you're like, you need to fill like a 45, 50 minute, hour long slot. So,
yeah. And I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. It's like, but yeah, we're just, we're just so used to the short thing, you know. It's just like, you know, so
You're like, do we have to play sick one like 10 times in a row? Like,
yeah,
just do it every other song just to fill that.
Yeah. Sick one, play 3 songs, like, okay, then sick one again, and just keep putting it in the set every so often.
Right.
Yeah.
So jumping back to the tour, one question I had, because, you know, California Curse is definitely one of the best DRAIN songs and has been, I guess, embraced by a lot of people. So I was kind of curious, what was the biggest response to California Curse that wasn't in California? Because obviously, if you live in LA or the Bay or anywhere, like, that's your hometown anthem. But like, I'm kind of curious if there was a crazy response of like a random part of the world where it's like no one here except for the band is from California.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny because like when we play that song, depending on where we're at, I mean, sometimes like Sammy will like change the word from California to whatever like state we're in, or, you know, and then like the kids will like sing that. You know, like,
okay.
like I can't remember which one specifically because it's like, it's different, but I feel like he's done like one for like Kentucky, like, he'd like, you know, Kentucky Curse, you know, like so. But
I think when I was watching the LDB set, yeah, I was like, did he say Kentucky Curse?
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. Like, it's just yeah, but yeah, I think it's received pretty well, you know, all across the board, you know, and that's a really good feeling, you know. It's awesome to know that.
Yeah. So no specific states or shows from that tour that were like, wow, everyone really likes this song, but we're like in the Midwest or we're like somewhere down south.
From that tour specifically, I mean, you know, North Carolina was really cool. Like sometimes for me, like what makes it cool is just like, you know, like the venue or just like what like the lighting. So I don't know. And just like, it's just like that show was really cool. But then of course, when we played California Curse and like all the kids got on stage and stuff. And there was this one kid that actually forgot his name, which I feel really bad for, but he came up next to me and he was like air guitaring with me, you know, as we were playing that, and like he for like that whole like last part of like just the dun, 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 and I was like, hell yeah, man, we're just kind of like up there like just gigging, you know. So
that's so sick.
Yeah, so I definitely remember that show because of that. So shouts out that kid, you know.
So yeah. I feel like that's a good segue. Oh, actually, before we segue, something else that I noticed on the. No, we'll come back to that. We're changing the order here. Just on the segue of guitars, something that's a little new for you is you got a Jackson hookup, which as a Jackson player, I'm hella jealous of you, but excited for you at the same time. So like, yeah, is there anything that you can say there as far as like, you know, because you have played a multitude of different guitars over the years. So like, how did the idea of like a Jackson hookup come? And, you know, tell me about how that tool really helped the LP that you recorded.
Well, you know, it's very true. I've played a lot of different guitars in my life. I mean, my first like real guitar that I had was the Dean Dave Mustaine V. I don't know if I mentioned that in the last podcast, but it was just like a black V. It was his Dave Mustaine signature, you know. So I was rocking that for like quite a while, and up until I was like, you know, like 21 or something like that. And then my roommate accidentally ran it over, which sucked. Yeah, because he was cleaning out the garage, and I had my guitar in the garage because that was like our jam space. And then he he took it out and just had it on the ground, and then he like backed up his car for some reason to I don't know, and he ran over it. And he's like, "My bad, bro." And I was like,
"So he ran over it in the case?"
No, because it was like I didn't have a case for it.
Oh,
it just like yeah. So he just had everything in the garage, like just like out like, you know, because we have it. It's our guitarist Wes from my old band Gardens.
Okay.
He you know, because we had the drum set in there, like everything, like amps, whatever, and just took it all out, just spring cleaning it or whatever. And then just his car was right there, and he backed it up for some reason and forgot that shit was there, and then he ran over my poor Dean. So, you know,
dude,
but
that sucks. Was it like he ran over it and like the strings exploded, or did it just break in half? It pretty much like demolished into pieces. Because it's funny because Wes is like, he's like a guitar like tech god. Like he like, you know, I would basically hire him for anything, you know, because he's set up my guitars for me. He's like fixed like
heads for me, amps, everything. So he totally could have fixed it if it wasn't like that bad, but it was just like so demolished. Where like, bro, like I can't do anything, like my bad. And I was like, all right, like whatever.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so I've had that, and then I had like an Epiphone at a certain point. And I remember I got my first Jackson, which was like that burgundy one. It was like the Jackson Soloist that I had for like quite a while.
Yeah, you were playing that when you played the DBK Fest, the 2020 LDB. It was that one, right? It had like kind of that kind of headstock.
Yeah, it was like it definitely had that one, which I don't know what that one is called. It's just like the
it's kind of like a tall diamond something.
Yeah, it was pretty weird, and and it was a fixed bridge too. So I had that, and I used that to record for California Cursed, obviously, and that was my baby for quite a while. And then I ended up selling that because I wanted to get my old Jackson before I got this one, which was the black Dinky, and with the maple wood fretboard and the maple headstock,
Yes.
And that had the Floyd on it, so I was like, all right, cool. And then so fast forward to now that I have this the Pro Series, the DK2M, which I love it. It's fucking awesome. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, looking back when I was a kid, like I just could never think that I was like, oh, like someone would send me a free guitar, like that's insane,
Totally.
So when I got the knock on my door, I was like, oh, what the heck? So like I opened up my door, and then like I just saw the box. I saw the Jackson logo in the box right there, and like literally like my heart like went up into like I was like like I was like so excited. I was like jumping up and down. Yeah, I was like jumping up and down like a little kid, and I was just like, dude, like this is so sick. Like what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like and I feel like I don't really get excited for like things that often these days, like that. So I was like, dude, like it was a really good day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's awesome. It just plays great, and my old Jackson had, like the licensed by, bridge on it. So it was like, wasn't an actual Floyd Rose, but this one is like an actual Floyd. So, everything just feels a little smoother, and, it's easier to do shit, whammy bar shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, all around badass guitar. I love it. And it's going to be my baby for, the foreseeable future. So
yeah. Do you feel like any of the parts on the new record, like you couldn't do without that, like Floyd Rose whammy kind of, like obviously like a dive bomb specifically, but was there any like subtle things, maybe just more on like rhythmic, that you were like, I'm really glad I have this guitar versus maybe my older stuff?
Totally, man. Because it's funny though, that the only real thing that I'll kind of like reveal about a song on the album is just that I have like I don't know how to explain it. Like I kind of like, I dumped the bar during like a riff, like, and I don't really know how to explain that, but it's just like, I'm playing like power chords, but then like I end up like incorporating like dumping the bar in the riff. And I don't really know how to explain it. I won't dive too deep into it because obviously like, you and everyone else will understand what I'm saying once it comes out. But
totally, yeah.
It's just certain stuff like that where I'm like, I'm glad I have this now, because it's like I have this tool to kind of up my game and stuff, as opposed to just having fixed bridges most of my life, and so yeah, I will say expect a lot of dime squeals, a lot of dive bombs, just weird whammy bar stuff, you know what I mean? Just I'm really into the whammy bar tricks, and like not just like your typical dive bombs. Like I just love like all the little shit, like the flickering, and where you kind of like have the bar out, you just kind of like, bring, just kind of flicker it out and stuff. Like I just love little stuff like that. So
yeah, I think it's like and this, I'm doing this interview right off of like a week ago. I was like recording, like I told you this already, but Endgame was recording some new music and like playing guitar for like 12 hours, and like I have a Jackson Dinky as well, and it was like there was thoughts when we were doing the quad tracking, like the doubles of the left and the right, to use another guitar, and I think I picked up like an LTD EC1000, which is a guitar I used to own, and just not having that maple neck, I'm like, do we need to do this? And Chris was like, no, let's just have it be all Jackson. And then it was like, I just picked that back up and, just went to town. I also wear these like ridiculous, like gas station dad glasses the entire time I was recording. So all the photos and videos of me tracking, it just looks like I just put on those glasses and I just felt like a different person. So
I was going to say much like these, right? These,
dude, straight up.
Dude, I love these things, man. Fucking, they're awesome.
Did you track anything wearing those, or did you, when you track guitars, did you wear any, or are you like, I gotta have it max comfort as far as like when I'm recording guitars?
No, it's funny. Like I should have worn some glasses at some point, but when I was recording, but no, I didn't. Actually, I bought these like because we were in LA recording. I bought these at the Santee Alley. Like I think it was like the last couple days we were there, so I didn't have them for the full recording, but I got them towards the end. So because I lost my other glasses and I was like, damn, I need a new pair. So I was like, never had any Pit Vipers before, so I might as well buy some. Are
those official Pit Vipers?
No, I mean they're just like these are like $7. They're not like the actual, you know what I mean? But it's like the same, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really care about the like having the brand. It's like kind of like, oh, do you have the Ray-Bans? I'm like, I'll just have the shape of a Ray-Bans. I think it's the kind of
that's all you need, man.
Yeah. I just haven't. What's funny? In Calgary, I haven't been able to find the really obscure sunglasses, and maybe I haven't been looking hard enough. When I would go into like the super like out there mountain towns like Jasper and all those, that's where like I went to one gas station out there and I saw these ridiculous glasses and I put them on. I'm like, I look like a fucking goon and I love it. And then I hesitated to buy them. And then when I got back to Calgary, I'm like, they're just, for some reason, this random mountain town has like these ridiculous sunglasses that I didn't buy. So I'm on the hunt for some good Viper knockoffs for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. That's what's up.
Yeah. Has there so something else, like this is just more on the recording side of things, like what is your prep for getting ready to record like multiple takes, really like trem picking and a lot of like downstroke? Because I found it took like a few takes for me to actually have my hand like warmed up. So I don't know, like if you have like, if you know what you need to be like, I'm ready to go.
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that, because when I had first joined Drain, or actually I should say when I first started playing guitar for Drain, because at first I started off with bass and then then moved up to guitar maybe like 6 months later, something like that. But my homie Parker, who plays in that band Shadow Man, I remember at the time he was like, dude, because I was against like stretching for some reason. I don't know. I was like just younger and I was like, oh, I don't need to stretch, whatever. But he's like, dude, he's like, you got to stretch. Like if you're playing like that, you're going to be like down bad later on. I was like, nah, we're chilling. But now I fully understand what he means now, because like, of course I got older. And so now one of the things I do, which is like, stretch all my fingers and stuff like that. I just do the wrist stretches and stuff like that. I just try to get them all warmed up, do that thing. And I kind of do like the, whatever that thing is, just kind of.
Okay. So there's like some brain and muscle stuff that you're doing.
Right. So I kind of try to do that. And then mostly just the wrist stretches. And then honestly, if I'm going to be tracking, a shit ton of cold brew. So I'm just like, I'm just zapped. Like literally every day that I was tracking in that studio, I was just zapped on fucking literally like this man right here. Mm-hmm. I was just zapped and I was just like, yeah, and I was just like, so yeah, so just those things I for sure need. Yeah.
Yeah, like there were moments whether we were tracking guitars or tracking drums where it was like, I think we need some caffeine, and I would like run down to like the coffee shop and get some good Java. I'm surprised our drummer tracked all the drums off of like, because he's not a coffee guy, so he asked for some kind of like frap or something, but it had like zero caffeine in it, but he still fucking killed it. And I was like, Grant, how did you do that on no like caffeine? I don't know how I would do that.
Right.
But yeah, I like that's something I never really thought about. It was like more like there's the physical stretching, but there's also like having your brain kind of know like, like training that or warming that up as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes, that's when it comes to guitars. I know on your last guitar, you had like the big fucking sick one like sticker on the side. Has there been like, you know, you got like this beautiful white dinky. Is there like thoughts that you want to have like the opposite, like the black text on it, or you're like, I have to just keep that as is?
You know, it's funny because like I was already talking to Sammy about this the other day, but it was like, you know, because I always loved the idea of like putting like text on like a guitar, because I got that idea from James Hetfield, because, you know, remember like he had like in the 80s, he had like, you know, the you know, drink more beer or whatever the fuck he said, you know, and, or, you know, just like on his Explorer, you know, and the LTD that I have is, you know, it's an Explorer body. So I was like, oh, that'd be a perfect opportunity to do that. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and put Sick One. I feel like people really were stoked on it. And, but that is now my backup guitar now that I have a Jackson. But I've definitely thought about that for the Jackson, but I kind of have some ideas for like, you know, later on down the road, if that's something I wanted to do. I kind of want to keep this one just as is, you know, I don't really want to tamper with it. But it's funny because when I posted that guitar on or the picture of me holding it on my Instagram the day I got it, some dude commented and he was like, yo, this is the Great White. And then he put like the shark emoji with like the little, and then I replied back and I was like, yo, honestly, man, thank you. Cause I'm going to call it that now. So now this guitar is the Great White. And I just feel like it's very fitting, you know, like
totally.
So
yeah. So and then like, I feel like your backup guitar is like the
Sick One.
Well, it's the Sick One, but like what's the there's the Great White, but then there's like, it's like the Orca, because it's like black and white.
That is true. Yeah, I guess I didn't really think of it that way. That's actually really.
I'm not out here trying to name all your guitars. I'm just offering some ideas.
No, that's funny. I never even, but I kind of like that. It's like, 'cause it definitely keeps with like the water theme, or, you know, like like I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I
lost your video again.
What's that?
I lost your video again. Are you getting another call? Oh, my
bad. Yeah, it's like I'm getting blown up right now.
No, that's fine.
But yeah, no. But yeah, so yeah, I like that though. That's sick.
The Great White and the Orca. I love that. So yeah, dude. Yeah, it looks sick, and I feel like seeing more. Again, this kind of goes back to the Epitaph thing. It's like that has a trickle down effect, I think, to like other bands who like I think are just as proficient of guitar players who deserve like a Jackson deal or an LTD deal or like a fucking, you know, whatever it is. So I hope to see more hardcore riff warriors getting their fair due. And I think you being the first makes total sense because, you know, Drain is just packed full of riffs. Since we were kind of talking about you know, sharks and all that, I think something else that I wanted to jump back to as far as the tour goes is you had the fucking, I don't even know, like, do you guys have a technical name for the Drain baby who's getting eaten by a shark? Or
that's we basically call that the Cupie.
The Cupie.
So it's like it's like the Cupie. It's like, which is, you know, the angel baby, I guess. Like, so it's the Cupie inside the shark costume. Yeah.
Right. So you made an actual, like, what would you call that? Like a entertainment, like put your face in this for that tour? Yeah, it's like I don't really know like the exact name, but it's like the shit that you see at like, you know, like you know, amusement parks and like carnivals and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, just it's like a certain character, and then so did you guys have to like hand build that, or did someone else, like, did you commission someone else to do that? Yeah, so this dude Yuri out in San Jose, he crafted it for us. So shouts out to him. Yeah, so we basically just presented him with the idea, and he was just like, yeah, you know, so he killed it because it was just great. And I think it went over very well on the tour too, because I think just people were just stoked, and then, you know, a lot of people took pictures with it. So I was really stoked on that, you know, because I didn't know. I was like, oh, maybe people will think it's like kind of lame, or they might think it's awesome, but people thought it was cool. So yeah, I find that Drain has been doing a lot. Like, there was that, and then like even a few months earlier, like just some of the merch drops. I'm like, damn, I had never thought about doing like a cooler as like a piece of band merch, but like you guys did it, and I felt like it fit your vibe really well. So like, I think thanks, man. Some of those things have just been like it's just space that hasn't been filled yet. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Is the Drain QP going to be making like multiple appearance? Like I would be surprised if you were bringing it over to Europe with Higher Power and Vane, but
I wish we could take that little guy everywhere with us, but I think we kind of made it just exclusively for our first headliner, because now its actual home is at Streetlight Records in Santa Cruz. So we actually donated it to the shop, to the record shop.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
It's there, just posted up, and people still take pictures with it and stuff, which is cool. But that's, maybe we'll think of something later down the road and in a certain kind of vibe. But that one specifically, that belongs in town in Santa Cruz.
Yeah, no, I like that idea where it's like we did this and we handed it off, and like, there could be people that are like just taking it with their kids and they have no idea who Drain is, but it's like still like a cool thing that is a part of the local culture. But yeah, I don't expect to see that sitting in a plane seat on your way to go to Europe. Let me just be like too much.
That'd honestly be pretty sick. Like that'd be a lot. That'd be fucking crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other moments from that headlining tour specifically that like really stuck out to you?
Well, I think the LA show was really wild, obviously, because that was like, it was just nuts. I mean, because it's like, looking back, it was a really good feeling for all of us, because it's like, wow, like we, sold out the 1720, which is, a pretty badass venue in LA, and it's just one of those things where it's like, I've seen a lot of cool shows there. I mean, we played there before, and stuff like that. And, all of us have seen cool shows there. And it's just like the fact that like, we sold it out on our headliner was just like a really, really cool feeling, mm-hmm. Along with, all our friends playing, Pain of Truth and Growing, we had No Pressure playing, Valmakara, so, it was badass. So that was a really cool moment in time. Another one that I'll never forget. I'm like, damn, and that was, to my knowledge, I think that was like 1,100 people there, so it was pretty awesome, man. That was a badass night. I'm trying to think like other moments, because there definitely were a lot. I mean, just that whole tour in general was just so badass, man. Like just had a good time every night. I mean, like I said, the North Carolina show was cool. Kansas City was really cool. I had a good time at the Vegas show. That was like really good vibes, man, all around. It was badass.
Yeah. I know, shout out to Dan and Jessa, who probably going to be listening to this episode, but they were at the Vegas show. They kind of caught you at Vegas first and then went over to LDB. But yeah, it was cool to see just the, it's one thing to see the reshares from the band account, but when it's like your own specific friends who are sharing it from that show, and then it's just crossing of worlds. Yeah, it was, that was cool to see.
It's dope, man.
Yeah. So, as far as just like touring with Drain, like again, you guys have a lot on your plate. You're going over to Europe with Higher Power and Vane. And that'll be your debut time out there, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Like as a band, for sure. I mean, like me personally, it's also my debut just individually, because I've never been. Actually, the farthest I've ever been was Canada that one time. So,
right.
Or the first time I ever been out of the States, But I think Sammy's been to Italy once, with his family, and I think Tim's been somewhere in Europe. But as a band, our debut, So yeah. I'm stoked.
Is there a certain place on that tour, just in Europe in general, that you're most excited to play?
Yeah, it's funny because I forgot who I was. I was having a conversation with somebody about that specifically. They asked me that question. I think. I'm stoked for it all, but I think that something about like the UK and like London, and I think it's because like as a kid, I was like so big on like, Judas Priest and like Iron Maiden, just like that whole like, new wave of British heavy metal and stuff like that, So I was always like wondering, I was like, damn, like I would love to go out that way and like check that out, because I love so much music from there, So I think probably that. And I think we have 3 dates in the UK, one being my birthday, which is sick. The 29th. So I'm actually really stoked. I never spent a birthday in a different country. So that's going to be pretty wild. And Braxton's about to be out there too. So we're going to have a
I literally was on, I was on FaceTime with him like a little earlier today. And it's like literally like so many bands from California are all going to be in Europe at the same time. Drain, Dare, Zulu, fucking Tsunami's out there right now. No pressure.
Yeah.
Like it's just like a full California invasion.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm just really excited for that because it's like that fest is like we're gonna have like so many of our friends there, you know. So it's just what more could you want, you know?
Totally. So speaking of riffs and badass bands, so I wanted to do a little segment with you, Cody. I know, you and I have been friends and following each other on Instagram for a long time, so I know you're big on the Name That Riff.
Oh man, yeah, I love it.
So I have a couple riffs queued up. I had to call in some favors to kind of pull some deep cuts as far as like thrash stuff is concerned. So I'm gonna play like 3 second. I don't know if this will work as far as the layout, as far as I'm playing it through my computer, and if you'll be able to hear it. We're gonna work through it. But
we're gonna try it.
Essentially, I'm gonna play a riff, and then you're gonna have to tell me or guess what it is. And I feel like you're gonna knock these out of the park, but we'll see if I put you on the spot or not.
We'll see. I mean, I try to, salute myself, and then sometimes I can get stumped, man, for sure.
Okay. Well, the other one, this first one is kind of like a really nice icebreaker to kind of just get into the flow of things. So, the first one here is, the riff sounds like. Can you hear that? Okay.
I actually can't hear it at all.
Oh, okay. Oh, because you know what's happening? It's coming through my laptop, but it's not going through my speakers. So let me.
Oh, okay, for sure.
So give me. Okay, now I have to reset the riff.
Oh, you're good, man.
Because I just have all these YouTube links. Okay, so so we have to do a little bit of play the audio through the computer, and then I'm gonna have to switch back to you. Oh wait, can I? Oh, here's the other thing. Okay. So I'm going to play it, and then you just wait like half a second, and then I'm going to switch it back.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. First riff.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's Raining Blood Slayer.
Yeah, sorry, can you say that one more time? I want to make sure that I got your audio.
Oh, yeah, it's a Raining Blood by Slayer for sure.
Yeah, so obvious, easy pick. I'm sure a lot of people listening are like, oh, iconic riff.
Of course.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, it got like a little quiet afterwards, but like once the riff kicked in, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just, again, rolling with, how this whole flow is going, but I really wanted to put you on the spot. Okay. So this this one's a little bit tougher. So again, I'll play the riff.
Okay.
Count to 3 in your head so I can switch back the audio, and then we'll see if you can guess it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Next up.
Damn. That one might actually stun me. It kind of my first thought in my head was it kind of sounds like Razor.
Okay.
But yeah, damn, that one actually might. Cause I'm trying to like judge by the tone. I'm like, the tone, it sounds kind of like Razor, sounds kind of like Destruction a little bit, but I think that one might get me.
Do you want? I can play it one more time if you want.
Okay, I'm actually down. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, it's like
I gave you a little bit more than I did the first time.
Okay, yeah, no, I caught that. Yeah, it's like damn, man, this one might actually stun me. I feel like once you tell me, I'm gonna be like, God damn it. It's like I know I probably know it, you know what I mean? But
so it's Nasty Savage.
Oh fuck. Okay, yeah.
Unchained
I was like,
Angel.
Right, okay, yeah, because I was thinking, okay, like I was thinking of bands that kind of have like that tone, and like Nasty Savage came up in my head. I was like, okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so we're one for one. It's
Okay.
a even game.
Okay, sick.
Next up, and I hope I picked the right song as far as the because I was told I need to. This is your only hint for this, but I was told I need to do the demo version of this song versus the remaster or whatever it is. So I hope I got the right one.
Okay.
So next up, name that riff.
Oh, yeah, easy. Yeah, that's so that's Piss by Pantera.
Correct.
Yeah. And I could tell because at the because they use that riff and use My Third Arm on Far Beyond Driven at the end, but they slow it down, you know, and it's like obviously like a different tone, but yeah, that's for sure that.
Yeah, I didn't like when I was like asking some friends who will remain nameless. They were like, "Oh, you need to use the demo version because some parts of this song have been used for other Pantera songs." And I was like, "I didn't even know that."
Yeah, and I prefer that version as to just the riff that they used in the song at Far Beyond Driven, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, 2 for 1.
Hell yeah.
You know, we got a couple more, so hopefully our riff ratio stays in the positive.
Okay.
All right. Here's the next one for you. You ready?
I'm ready. Shit. Okay. The first thing that came to my head was Heathen, but I don't think it's Heathen. Again, I'm very much like I'm big on like tone, so it's like I can usually kind of tell who it is by like the tone or whatever. But it's like, fuck, that one might get me too.
These are the harder ones. I think the one that Nasty Savage and this one I think were like the hard ones that I was trying to get to you.
Well, it's funny because you said that was Unchained Angel, Nasty Savage. I'm really familiar with the self-titled, which is like the one that I have. That's like the main one that I like. I know a couple tracks off like the other ones, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but the self-titled is like the one that I'm very familiar with. But this one, fuck, damn it!
Hear it one more time.
Let's hear it one more time. Yeah, maybe a little other snippet of something else, dude.
I'll give you a little bit more time. All right, here we go.
Oh fuck. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Damn. I feel like I'm slipping. I feel like I'm slipping right now, bro. I think I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's something off of that second Toxic album. Maybe. God damn it.
No. It's Cyclone Temple.
Oh fuck. Yeah. God damn it. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah.
I know that you're like, I could feel how like, oh, I was so close, or like, why did I think of that?
Yeah. Well, because like, yeah, I don't know if what's the name of that second Toxic
Hate Makes
album?
Hate is the song. And let me just preface, I was just given the bands as suggestions, and then I just went to their Spotify and picked the top track. So that was kind of the preference. But
okay.
Yeah, like I heard this because I've never listened to this band before, and I was like, yo, so I need to listen to more myself. But
dude,
did that cross your mind when you were first hearing that, or did that not even cross your radar?
No, because at first, just from like just the like I was like, okay, it could be Heathen, but I don't think so. And then when the kind of other like the chords came in, I was like, that does sound like something that would be on that second Toxic album, like the one with like the TVs on it and stuff, the people watching.
Okay.
But then again, I'm not too familiar with that one. I'm more familiar with the World Circus Toxic album. So that one was pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so it's tied up. This could be the decision maker. So,
Okay.
Stakes are high right now.
Jeez, man, I feel like I'm slipping, man, down.
No. I hope that I have a feeling that you'll come out on top. I appreciate you willing to play the game here. Okay.
Of course, man.
All right, last one.
Okay. Gotta adjust that out.
I'm going to give you a little bit more.
Fuck. Okay, because at first I kind of had an idea, but then the vocals kind of threw me off. So I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Oh, man. I actually don't even really have like an idea for that now.
Do you want a hint? I'll give you one hint.
Yeah, sure.
The name of this band is grammatically incorrect.
Fuck. Damn. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, the vocals threw me off at first because I was like, damn. And again, I feel like once I hear something, I'm like, oh my god, I'm an idiot. It's like,
okay,
but
think about that hint, and I'm
okay.
gonna play it once more.
Okay, all right.
Let's just go from that same spot.
Okay. I'm gonna take a wild guess. Is that Lizzie Borden?
No.
Fuck. Okay, yeah. Because like I said, the vocals are throwing me off, man. I'm like, god damn it. But
Snow White, spelled with a Z.
Snow. Oh, Snow. Wait, Snow White.
Yeah.
You said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Damn. Fuck. Okay.
Is that because I was told like, oh, me and Cody were geeking out about this band like just a couple days ago. I was like, oh, it'll be fresh in his mind. But I hope that's the right band.
Look, I don't know. Like, maybe it's like a song that I heard, and I was like, oh, this is sick. But like, yeah, it's like not a band that like I'm at all really familiar.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maybe it was like a song in passing or something, but I can't really remember.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it sounded sick, but like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would call that, a no contest, probably a fit. I'm not even going to count that one, but there is a bonus one, but I don't even think it necessarily plays in the riff space or in the thrash space. It's more of just like, I think it's more of a joke. So I'm kind of curious if you would even pick it up.
Let's
have this one be for all the marbles. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down. Oh. Okay, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna take a wild guess. It kind of, to me, sounded like Shotgun Messiah, but fuck me, god damn, dude, I'm slipping so hard. Bro.
No, you're
like, no, but I mean, whatever. Like, damn, that.
Do you like that riff?
That riff is fucking awesome. Yeah.
It's a Nickelback song.
Damn! Oh my god, that's honestly pretty nuts. Like. That's a Nickelback song?
Yeah, from All the Right Reasons. I think it's their second album. That album, so many riffs.
Dude, what the fuck?
Like,
that's actually pretty nuts.
Yeah. I feel like any of the Canadians, I'm sure whoever heard, like there's kind of this weird thing with like people in Canadian hardcore that are like either like, oh, Nickelback is so trash, and then there's real people that are like, yo, anything off All the Right Reasons has like that song specifically is like it's just very riff heavy. The lyrics though are not 2020 appropriate because like it's a little like,
oh, for sure,
yeah. Chad Kroger said some out of pocket shit for sure.
Some questionable stuff, yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like this segment, although for me it was really fun, I feel like maybe the next time you're on the podcast we'll do like a proper like tournament style thing. Like I literally threw this together like just before we were jumping on here, so I feel like this is the redemption arc for Cody and the riffs.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Man.
But
it's funny. Typical me though. Fucking like the one I got right was fucking, of course, a Pantera song. So it's like, you know what I mean? So I guess I could salute myself for that one. But
yeah. But any like I wanted to put that together because like anytime that you're like name that riff and it's like I feel like that for me would just educate me on all this like really older thrash music that I like didn't grow up on before I was getting into heavy music. So I wanted to turn the tables a little bit and put you on the spot.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So, you know, we've talked a little bit about the new record, you know, and I'm sure that there's more things that, again, you can't say as far as what's going on with that. And, you know, things that are probably still being decided, but like anything that you can like broadly talk about when it comes to the, you know, like what people can expect, how it's is it a continuation of California Curse, or do you feel like musically it's gone in a certain direction that people can be excited about? Anything that you can and want to share?
Yeah, well, I'll say that the last thing that we wanted to do going into this record was like we didn't want to write California Curse Part 2. Right. So we went into this with, you know, a different mindset. I mean, I think that this album there's better songwriting on it. I think the songs are a lot catchier. I think that, and not to say that California Cursed isn't, because I feel like there's obviously a lot of good songs, a lot of great songs on California Cursed that I'm proud of, we're all proud of. But for some reason, this album, I just think everything just kind of went up, you know, especially skill wise too, in all of us, because it's like, I feel like my guitar skills went up considerably. I think Tim's like drum playing, you know, his skills have just gone up so fucking, like he's killing it on that album, like straight up, like his drum fills like really shine on that, on this new album. So I'm really stoked for people to hear that. Yeah, I just think that all around, I just think it's, you know, we just kind of went in with like, okay, we got to hone in the Drain energy, of course, you know what I mean? And like, just still keep that obviously, you know, but like write a different album that's just not like a continuation of California Curse. Cause in order for a band or an artist to grow, and like, you know, it's like, you kind of have to like write a different something, you know what I mean? Or the way I see it. So,
totally.
Yeah, you know, but I just think that like, you know, just song wise and just skill wise, you know, we've all kind of like leveled up, you know, and I just think that like, it's funny. Like, I think Sammy was talking about, it's like, it's kind of like our sound is very like, it's like guitar mosh music, you know what I mean? It's like, it's very like, you know, riff heavy, you know, like on my end and stuff, and very like, you know, like metal riffs and stuff like that. But then it's like, you know, we got the parts that you can like dance to, mosh to, and like stuff like that. And like the real shit that like the hardcore kids can fucking really latch onto. And then we got shit that like, you know, the guitar nerds and like the metalheads and stuff can fucking pick apart. So it's like, yeah. So I think there's a lot of that on this new one. So yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's just going deeper into the extremes of the metal and hardcore bridge that is Drain.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that's, you know, that's a good way to describe it. And I will say that, you know, just all around too, it's like, you know, I enjoy, and I think all across the board, I think Tim's very happy with, you know, his his drum sound, and I'm very happy with my tone, my guitar tone on this album. And
right.
I just think that like, we all wanted to do something different as opposed to California Curse. I for sure wanted to have a different tone. I think, it's all.
Yeah.
Really
I know it was cool to see that you guys went back to do this new record with Taylor, friend of the pod. I've gotten to, I was literally on the phone with a friend of mine just talking about the pit, and it's like it looks like you're only imagining the layout of it when you see videos or photos, and then you get there and you're like, this is just two tiny rectangles as far as the live room and the mixing room. But yeah, like when I was originally there, like, the records that he would have on the wall, like California Curse, like was one of those. And so it was cool to see, someone who I think is like probably one of the best heavy music engineers and producers take, Drain 2 LP wise for a run. So what were like some more like amp tone things that you felt like you did a little bit differently in this recording process than you did in California?
Well, when we record California Cursed, I ended up using Taylor's JCM 800, which is Marshall. I'm a big fan. I've always loved the tone of solid state amps. I had the PV Supreme 160 at one point, then I had like the PV Ultra 60. I had like a couple of them, and now I have the Randall RG 100, which is like pretty much my favorite amp at this point. And that's a solid state. So it's like I went into this album being like, I want to use like, I want this, my sound, which is the solid state sound, like on this album, as opposed to like a tube amp, So we did that, we paired it with some pretty cool pedals, and I was just really looking for just like a really just sick tone that like I just haven't really captured on some of the previous records and stuff like that. And not to say that any of them are bad by any means, because like, I've always liked my tone on especially on California Curse, but it's like, with each album you want to level up, and be like, oh, like that tone was cool, but like I want to see what's good with this, And like, totally. And especially the Randall, the solid state sound being like my live sound too. I wanted to like have that on record too. So,
totally.
So yeah, I was just kind of going for that, like kind of scoop the mids, kind of like, like not like early 90s, like Exodus meets like, early 90s Pantera, like just that really like, just, like, I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, just some shit like that. So,
I don't know what the difference is from the RG to the RH, but I have an RH 100 that's sitting right here.
That's
so the
sick.
minute
Yeah.
I saw that you had a Randall, I was like, Randall family. For
Dude,
life.
hell yeah. That's so sick. Yeah, I actually I'm not too familiar with the RH, so I couldn't really tell you what the difference is between the RG and the RH, but that is sick. I'm a big advocate of Randall. I hope to get endorsed by them one day, if that's even at all a possible thing, because I just kind of ride for that. I don't know. I just that solid state sound, man. It's just really cool, And like I said, I had the PVs back in the day and stuff like that. But
the Supreme sound, insane,
dude. Well, the only thing that, like, I guess back in the day, Drain, when we were playing live and stuff, it's like, I guess as opposed to now, it's like, pretty much 100% of the time we're mic'd up wherever we go. So it's like, it doesn't really matter if I have a solid state or whatever. But I think like back then when we were playing like smaller, shows and stuff like that with like, in like, backyards and like warehouses and stuff like that, like when we weren't mic'd up, it kind of sucked to have a solid state, because solid state obviously isn't as loud as a tube amp.
Right.
So I did use tube amps, in those early days too, because I wanted like the volume and, especially me being the only guitarist and stuff. But now that, we mainly get mic'd up usually everywhere we go, it's like, it's totally fine to have a solid state. I'm like, dude, because we're just loud anyway. So it's like, so it's dope. It's a cool feeling, So
is there any amps when you're recording that you're like, this no way is meeting my riffs on this recording? Like, there's no way I'm using this amp.
No, I've never really like encountered that. You know what I mean? I feel like never really encountered that where I'm just like, oh, I would never use this. Like I said, like in the past, like I think the first thing I did with Drain or recorded with Drain was Time Enough at Last, like that Blue album or the Blue EP. And that was pretty like, you know, just straightforward tone. Again, I used Taylor's JCM 800 for that, you know, and then for the promo, Army One, California Curse used that. And then, you know, so, but yeah, there's never really been like a time where I was like, oh yeah, I would never use whatever amp, you know, but
and I'm only thinking about this because when we were recording, it was like, okay, let's switch out the amp. So I think we did, I think I talked to you about Rev on our last episode. It's like a Canadian company. So we did Rev and Randall on one, and that was my favorite of all the pairings. But we did it like a Bogner, we did a Bad Cat. Surprisingly, the Bad Cat sounded awesome. We threw in a dual rec, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like dual recs are just too bassy. Like they just sound too like, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, because I borrowed one from one of my homies at one point, and it was like, you know, it did its job. It's like, you know, I don't know, it's like a 5150. Like it just does its job. You know, it's cool for what it is, but it's like, I guess I do feel that, you know, it is kind of like on the bassy end, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. There was just like I think we were like trying to do it out, and then I was like, can we just do another channel of one of the other amps that I for sure think is sick? And then we ended up doing that. Yeah. So as far as, so you got the guitar hookup, so the amp hookup would be Randall.
Oh, dude, I would love that, man. Cause I just feel like, yeah, like I said, I love them. And I think as far as I know, I mean, I'm sure there's probably more than I think can think of, but Ola England, you know, the YouTube dude, that like,
Ola
he reviews, yeah, I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's from like Sweden or I don't know. I could be mistaken where he's from, but he's just like this big guitar guy, and he just you know, has a YouTube channel, and he just like, you know, plays riffs, and he like, you know, just reviews amps and different things and stuff. Big like Diamondback Barrelhead.
How do you spell his first name? Ola?
It's
like
OLA.
Ola England.
England, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's for sure endorsed by Randall. I think he has his own signature Randall, actually. I just can't remember the name of it. But I'm sure there's more people, obviously, like in today's time, that is. But I just think that like it would just be really sick, and I feel like Randalls kind of don't get enough love as they should. You know what I mean? And I just love that. Like I don't know. I just love them. That's kind of like my thing, you know?
Yeah, dude. I feel like the top 3 guitar heads that I would see at like a music festival is usually a PV, a Marshall, and probably a Mesa.
Yeah, those are like pretty much like the typical, like, yeah, you pull up to a fest and it's like, well, we got these 3 kind of like backlined, you know, because it's like, I get it, you know, it's like, it's just it's good for what they do. It's like they're I mean, a lot of people
covers
use them,
all the
and
bases.
It kind of covers all the bases, you know. So it's like, I mean, I've used, you know, like dual Rex, triple Rex for like, I mean, I can't remember like what they had at This Is Hardcore. I mean, I think it was I think
that they're a Mesa like sponsored fest.
Yeah, so I remember,
but I feel like I'm right on that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like, you know, I just remember just pulling up and just plugging into whatever they had. But I think it was Mesa for sure. But yeah, you know, it's like that's usually like the typical ones you see like at those types of things, you know.
Yeah, I do totally agree. The fucking like Randall needs more love as a company as a whole, but like
for sure, yeah.
I think that's like one thing that you can really like show that you give a fuck about your tone is like when you roll up to the gig and your amp is like not one of those 3 that we mentioned. Not to say that if you play those amps it's like, oh, you don't know what good tone is, because they're, again, like if you have a JCM 800, like good on you, you got a solid machine behind you. But I feel like people that have like those more obscure, I'm personally not a fan of like the really crazy like rack system, especially when you're playing like hardcore music. But like if you're pulling up with like a PV Supreme, a Randall, or like something that's like a little obscure, as a gear person, I'm like, whoa, tell me your story, you know?
Yeah, it gets you a little interested. You're like, oh, like what's this guy about to play? What's he all about? You know? And then it's like, that's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And I think it's the same also with like if you have a crazy ass guitar or something that is just not like an LTD EC1000, like again, like play whatever you want with whatever you got.
Of course.
But I feel like I notice the people who really put their own spin on it that much more, for sure.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's like, yeah, like you said, same thing with guitars, you know, like I'll see people, like maybe I'll see a band, and then before they start playing, like I'll see like the guitarist pulling out like a warlock or something. I'm just like, yo, what's he about to do? You know what I mean? Like, or whatever, you know what I mean? Just like, yeah. And it's just interesting to see like people's like, you know, the preferences and styles and stuff. And you just, yeah. But,
yeah. And I feel like some of that is there's a bit of a bait and switch, because like sometimes someone could be pulling out a BC Rich and you're like, what's going to happen here? And then they're like a slam band. And then it's like, oh, okay. But then the next band could pull out a BC Rich and they're like just a straight up hardcore band. So it's like so I don't know. As someone that like has seen so many bands of so many levels, it's like it kind of keeps you on your toes, and like you're like, oh, like what has led you to the decision to have this guitar for this project? I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, it's really funny because like I feel like I can't tell you how many times I've seen like in those typical situations where a band's about to play, you see the guitarist pull out like a Randy Rhoads V or something, like, oh, it's got to be some kind of metal band, but then they end up being just like a straight up just power chord like punk band, you know. And I'm like, damn, that's interesting, you know. But I guess you don't really have to, I guess, you know, when you pigeonhole guitars to certain genres, I guess. But it's like sometimes it's kind of hard to just, you know what I mean? Like it's like sometimes you just see a guitar and you're like, oh, that's got to be this genre or something, you know. But you never really know, you know. So
yeah, I feel like there's definitely like, especially when I was first getting in, like I was definitely like a melodic hardcore head when I was like first getting into this, and a band from up here called Means, their guitar player had like a Schecter Tempest custom, so it's kind of like it's kind of an in between like an SG and like a Les Paul body, so it's kind of like it's got it's not like a full super strap, but it's got a little bit of that, and like black with gold hardware, everything, like super sexy looking guitar. So obviously me being the 16-year-old kid, I'm like, I need to have that guitar to play that music. And then over time it's like, oh, now I can literally own whatever I want. And I feel like the more obscure it is, the more eyes that it could be like, oh, like what's going on here. So
totally
yeah. Cody, well, we're coming towards the end. A couple other questions before we send off. When it comes to how we end the show, I can't even remember what the last mosh related story that you told on your last episode, but that's how we start to go towards the close. So any mosh related story that you would like to share that involves yourself, a friend, anything that's the first to your head is how we start to wrap up.
Mosh related story. Well, if I recall correctly, I think the last one I talked about was I think it was like my favorite show or whatever. And it's funny because I actually just posted about it yesterday because someone posted a flyer of that show. So I reposted it. Yeah. And it was the Mongoloid's last, Northern California show.
Yeah. That's coming back to me. Mm-hmm.
With Take Offense and stuff. Yeah. So I remember making that, my favorite show, or one of my favorite shows to think about. But yeah, mosh story. I'm trying to think. I mean, like, I feel like at this point, it's very seldom that like I pop out, you know, like it's if someone does a cool cover, you know, maybe I'll kind of come out of mosh retirement. I kind of consider myself a mosh retirement at this point. But I'm trying to think in my like younger days.
When's the last time that you moshed? Maybe that's a better question.
That is actually a good question. Actually, you know what's funny? The last time I moshed, I think, was the last. No. Okay. No. Okay. I was gonna say the last time I moshed was at the first FYA that we played, which was right before the pandemic. Because, I can't remember the name of the band, but they covered Throwdown.
I'm pulling up that flyer so I can reference.
Yeah, who's God, I feel so bad. I can't remember the name of the band, but they covered Never Back Down by Throwdown. And I heard that at the time. I was like, talking to Tim when we were like at our merch table, and I was like eating chicken strips, like dipping in barbecue sauce. And then all of a sudden I just hear like the "to never back down, never." And I was like, Tim, you gotta hold this. I gotta run in there real quick, you know? But no, actually in more recent times, I was with Braxton at his show. Actually, I was in LA. It was like a Wise record release show. And goddamn, what was the Pull Your Card, that band Pull Your Card. They covered Irate. They covered Vendetta. So I remember and it's funny because I've seen bands cover certain parts of that song, but like I thought it was cool because they even played the clean, like they played the whole thing. Like they played the clean part in the beginning with like with the talking shit, like kind of the intro. So I remember I was like, oh man, this is bad. I remember me and Braxton were looking at each other like, oh bro, like, you know what I mean? Like I just had the jacket on and everything. I was like, oh man, like, and I took off my leather jacket. I just I had to go at a certain point. I was like, bro, like, it's not every day that you hear someone cover Irate in that form. So shouts out to them. In full. Yeah. So shouts out to them for sure. That was sick. So that was the last time that I moshed.
I feel like that needs to be. That was right off the top of my head, but I feel like that's the way that I do the mosh story for returning guests. It's not tell me another mosh story. It's like, when's the last time you moshed?
That's great. Yeah, because I was like, damn, yeah.
Yeah, like I actually have to think about this. Awesome. Well, Cody, all the links as always for your shit and Drain stuff will be in the show notes in the description. But if there's anyone you want to shout out, any final words you want to leave the people with, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, once again, shouts out Calavera Coffee, sickest coffee shop in the world. Yeah, just shouts out to my team, you know, just like, I mean, everyone in my band, fucking, you know, love them. Just shouts out to everyone that loves Drain and that keeps rocking with us. And, you know, shouts out to all the guitar players, you know, six string supremacy for sure. You know, I want to put, I mean, shouts out to all players who play, you know, any number of strings, but like for sure 6-string supremacy. And shouts out to all the guitar nerds and all the kids that fucking want to play guitar and shit. You know, like I rock with y'all. So yeah.
Are you still? Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but are you still taking people to take lessons? Do you want to plug that? If you are,
I'm down. Yeah, I mean, because like I haven't done that in a while because I just got really busy with like Drain stuff, you know.
Right.
But there was a period where I was doing that, you know, and I was teaching a few kids and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to, you know, getting back into that. I just haven't really had time. But yeah, you know, if anybody wants to learn either a Drain riff or just any kind of thing, you know, hit me up and I'd be happy to assist you in any kind of guitar needs, you know. So,
of course. Well, yeah. Cody, this was a blast. Really happy to have you back on. I'm really excited for the future of Drain with this next record, and I'm just really I'm truly like grateful for, you know, being able to be a friend of yours and to connect and, you know, to talk riffs just off of random little Instagram stories. So yeah, thanks again for coming on the podcast. We'll definitely do a round 3 with the proper like riff tournament of Name That Riff in the future. So yeah.
Hell yeah. And hopefully next time I won't be dropping the ball like I did this time. But,
I put you a little through the ringer, but I'm like, when we do that, it will be like proper. Like I will have the best audio, the best selections, you know, it will be a good time.
Oh yeah. I can't wait, bro. Hopefully next time I'll see you in person when we're in Canada, whenever that may be. And then we can actually for sure hang out, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man.